So in the latest efforts to slash government waste, the Department of Veterans Affairs is looking to cut thousands of jobs, and Democrats do not like it.
They're going to gut the Department of Veterans Affairs, jeopardizing the health and well-being of millions of veterans.
I go to the VA myself, so I see every day the waiting lists, the long lines to get care, how long it takes to get an appointment. All of that is going to get worse.
Cutting the VA and some of the proposals I've seen are going to hurt service to veterans. So let's agree that that's a bad idea, bipartisan. It's a bad idea to do that.
Really? But the administration says this move is necessary to get better, to get more efficient, and to get better treatment for the veterans. Secretary of Veterans Affairs Doug Collins joins us now, who also still serving in the reserves. Mr. Secretary, your thoughts about the Democrats who says it's wrong to cut back at the VA?
Well, let's take off what Ms. Logan just said. Let's all agree on something. That for the past 10 years, the GAO has reported that the VA health care has been at a high risk. In other words, they're high risk and on the high risk list for not only the possibility of fraud, waste, and abuse, but also in patient quality, patient care. This has been going on for 10 years. It's interesting to me that they're looking at wait times. These are things that have preceded me coming in. I've been here 4 weeks, but it's interesting that there's no solutions being proposed. President Trump brought generational change to D.C., and he's saying, let's look at everything. So what we're looking at is if our system is on a high-risk list, if we've had issues, and all that the government has decided to do lately is put money or people at something, then maybe we need to ask the better question is are we using our resources wisely and making sure that our department is taking care of the veteran, which is our only responsibility.
So if the 80,000 number that has come out, is that number already done? Have you already decided who to let go?
No, that is a goal that was put out. President Trump and OPM has said, let's look at a reduction in force across government. And that is a goal. That is our target. That's what we're going to begin to look at. And please, before Democrats or anybody else start on this path, this is going to be a deliberative process that's going to take some time. That's going to include career VA employees. It's going to include senior executives. It's going to include all across, even bringing in people if need be, to take a look at, are we being efficient? Brian, I can't get over the fact that for 10 years, the VA, and especially in our hospital, is listed on the GAO high-risk list, but yet we have people in Congress now yelling, don't do anything. Well, let me just say that what they're saying is when they don't want to do anything, they're saying keep it the same. They're saying keep this on this high-risk list. Keep us in an area in which we're not making improvements in veterans care. And I'm not going to stand for that. We're going to actually make changes that actually help our veterans and put us in a position to better be efficient in what we have.
So the cuts have not been made yet, but you think you could make the VA better by leaning it out, making people change maybe job descriptions and becoming more efficient. Will you use DOGE in that process?
They're always, look, we have VA employees that are working with our DOGE liaison, especially looking at contracts and also looking at our organizational structure. This has not been looked at in a long time. A mentor of mine, Senator Johnny Isakson, who was the head of the VA committee in the Senate for a long time, made a comment almost about 8 years ago. He said that one of the biggest problems he was seeing was the VA was not money in resources, it was actually organizational structure. So I think it's really interesting for me to take a look at an organization that's grown rapidly, but yet still has issues and still has problems taking care of our veterans. We should not have a veteran have to call a senator or a congressman to get the help they need. That's a failure on our part, and we're not doing things the same way anymore. We're going to make sure we're putting the money and resources toward our veterans and getting the help they need.
So here's what President Trump said about Elon and DOGE yesterday and the Democratic attacks that have followed. Watch.
The Democrats say that Elon Musk and DOGE are overstepping their bounds. You're right. What Elon Musk and DOGE has been able to uncover is unbelievable. Half of us did not even realize.
And stop there. Because look, stop there. You just said, what he's done is unbelievable. Now, you could then add some, but what about he's found hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fake contracts. That's a big thing. No, he's done a great job. And he's paying a price for it.
You agree?
I think, yes. I think we'll have. Let me give you two figures. The Democrats have talked about how the cuts have occurred in the probation employee layoffs. These things are hurting. That's less than 1/2% of our workforce that have been laid off. I don't think that's actually, and especially non-front-facing personnel. These were non-essential personnel, and which, by the way, if they happen to be caught up and they wasn't, there's an exemption that they could come back to work. Their supervisors chose not to use that exemption process in many of these cases, but also in our contracts, which their team has helped us find. We've only investigated 2% of our contracts at the VA, and yet found over $98 million. When we look at this as we go forward, going forward, 980 million. I'm sorry, apologize. It was a little bit more, $980 million, almost $1 billion that we're cutting now to put back into patient care and working with our benefits. And we have over almost 1.8 billion total of contracts that are just canceled going forward. That's only 2%, Brian. And when you look at our process going forward, that's the kind of things that we need to make sure the VA is efficient.
And 27% of your workforce are veterans, so that I know you're going to take special care to make sure if you have to let somebody go, they've already served the country. It's got to be for the right reason, right?
Yeah, and that's the process as we go forward. Everything's going to be very deliberative going forward, making sure that we're doing what we need to do to make the VA helpful.
And so before you write that Veterans Affairs being torn up, just put an email out to Doug Collins. He'll let you know exactly what's going on. The 80,000's a goal. It's not been done. He'll see what happens. Thanks so much, Mr. Secretary, and congratulations on the job.
Thanks, Brian.